So I end up talking to around 5 attorneys, and they were already whittled down from a bigger list. So I had searched multiple places online on who are the attorneys that are working, and then kind of shortened that list. And then I spoke to each of them individually, trying to understand how many EB5 clients do they have? Is it like do they do per year, right? So that I want to get an idea of what kind of volume they process, because that gives you an idea of, because the immigration and USCIS based, there's a lot of there's a back and forth even between you and the attorney, and the attorney and you with USCIS, because occasionally USCIS might send an RFE, which is a request for evidence, and the attorney, an experienced attorney, will be able to deal with it much better. I know that from personal experience, because in my job, I work with a very famous immigration attorney. But the downsides of a very big immigration attorney is you don't get personalized attention. So those were two of my factors, right? One is a little bit of personalized attention for my case, someone who cares about the case, and the second is someone who does a good amount of volume, so that they can see the issues and be able to answer them quickly. And because what I also found, which kind of affected my decision making while selecting the attorney, was how responsive they are, right? Like sometimes if you send an email to someone, if you hear back within 4 or 5 days, that means either they're caught up with too much, or maybe that's their standard response time. And I was looking for a faster response time, because I did want to get this done quickly. So because you never know, right? Again, the reason why I want to do it quickly is because the priority dates are current today, but may not remain so in the future, right? So time is of the essence.
I think we interviewed about a handful of attorneys from smaller law firms to bigger law firms, and I think ultimately it's a really personal decision, and maybe different factors were more important for me, being a lawyer myself. But in the end, we hired Anahita and her team from George Marcello, and they were actually the lawyers you had recommended to me during our first meeting. And I mean, it's been an absolutely, amazing experience for me, because working with them was really all I could have asked for, and even better, because my approval came really quickly. And what I liked about Anahita and her team was they are pretty straightforward, down to earth approach, very pragmatic, and that really appealed to me. Obviously, she has an amazing track record. I think, she's been in the business for over a decade, and 100% approval rate, and she was just she is rather super experienced, and still also very understanding, because I think she's just worked with so many clients from different backgrounds. So she basically not only could I tell that they knew what they were doing, I also felt I felt comfortable basically working with them. So for me, it was also appealing working with a boutique firm. I know different people have different preferences, priorities, but I ultimately wanted, I thought for me working with a small firm was better, because I was more confident that they would dedicate the time to me, and this is really also that was definitely also a big factor for me.
So I mean, I can give a slew of items to think about, but I think for us the biggest three or four items were: number one, how is the attorney communicating with you, right? I mean, do we always have to go through their secretary, or do we have open lines of communication with the attorney or their partner? So that was huge. That was a big thing for us. Secondly, their track record, obviously, right? Anaida and Nick, her partner, whenever we talked, we felt that they had such a strong grasp of the subject matter that we felt that, okay, you know what, whatever they say is going to end up being the right choice or right path for us to take. Number three, again, going back to communication, how available are they to you, right? Because a lot of times, and I know people with layoffs and everything, I know a couple of them really well, like firsthand, that went through EB-5, and they weren't able to get their filing done in a timely manner, mainly because the attorney and their law firm, they weren't available to them, right, at all times. So that was a big factor for us. And then just the ability, and the best part is both Nick and Anaida are so analytical. I believe Anaida even has experience as a tax attorney. So the understanding of numbers and how can we communicate as to arrive to that source of funds document was very important to us. I think these are the 4 or 5. I mean, communication to me was such a huge thing because I was traveling a lot, and I was they would still get back to me even on weekends sometimes, right? So that was a big factor for us.
So I talked to at least 3 to 4 attorneys, mostly locally here in Bay Area, California. But what I found was most of them were like general immigration attorneys who were handling all different type of cases, like your H-1Bs or other company-sponsored ones or EB-1A kind of stuff. But I wanted someone who was specifically concentrating on EB-5, who can understand in and out of the EB-5 process, and has been doing this for a longer time.
At the end of the day, I interviewed probably 4 or 5 lawyers, and it all came down to the number of applications that they had gone through, their success rate, and really how well we meshed. Would they be around during times of trouble? So I have like a little test where I call them unexpectedly, or I send an email and I evaluate how quick their response is and how accurate their response is. At the end of the day, you take a risk no matter what, but I'm quite pleased so far with the work that's been done with the law firm that we picked.